Welcome to Win the Day from Back to the Bible. I'm your coach, Pastor Nat, and today we're going to talk about seeing Jesus for who he is. Have you ever wondered what it was like to be raised in the home of Jesus? I mean, you may not know this, but Jesus had half-brothers. So you'd have to think it would have been a very unique childhood. I mean, think about it. Jesus was probably picked first every time they played basketball. I mean, he shoots and he scores. Or think about behavior. I mean, come on. Every time you get into trouble, what would Mother Mary say? She would say, "Now, James, what would Jesus do?" It had to have been a very unique childhood. But I wonder, did Jesus' brothers understand who he was? That answer is found in John chapter 7. Let's turn there now as we continue walking with Jesus. This is what it says in John chapter 7, beginning in verse 1. After this, Jesus went about in Galilee. He would not go about in Judea, because the Jews were seeking to kill him. Now the Jews' feast of booths was at hand. So his brothers said to him, "Leave here and go to Judea, that your disciples also may see the works you are doing. For no one works in secret if he seeks to be known openly. If you do these things, show yourself to the world." For not even his brothers believed in him. Did you hear what he just said? That's incredible. Now, there's a lot going on here. So it's about 6 months after chapter 6 concludes. How do we know this? Well, it was the Feast of Booths, and the events of chapter 6 were around Passover. So Jesus is teaching and ministering in Galilee. Judea is just not safe. The religious leaders are done with Jesus. They think he's a blasphemer and want him taken out. They want him dead. So Jesus is focusing on ministry where the soil is better. He is teaching and preparing the disciples. John tells us that it's the Feast of Booths. What is that? It's the Feast of Tabernacles. It was a 7-day feast where people would build and live in shelters. These shelters were made of branches to remind them of their rescue from Egypt. Jesus' half-brothers know he's a teacher with some amazing abilities. I mean, they've seen it. They were raised with him. But as we can see, they just don't get it. They think he may be some great political leader or political messiah. So they tell him, "Look, if you want to go and take over and overthrow the government, then go to Judea. Do your signs there. If you want to win back the crowds you've turned away with those hard teachings, get out of Galilee and do some more tricks." And then it confirms their disbelief in verse 5. John writes, "For not even his brothers believed in him." Think about what John just wrote. Jesus' brothers, who saw Jesus their whole childhood. I mean, they're with him now. They've heard the stories. They've seen some of his works. They have heard his teaching. But they just don't get it. I think this describes many people today. They've seen the evidence. They've been presented every reason to believe in Jesus, but they just don't believe. But that's why you matter today. One of the greatest acts Jesus did was that he tabernacled among us. He moved into the neighborhood so people might see him and hear his message. And today, he's tabernacled in you. The question is, will you show the world around you Jesus? God has you right where he wants you. It's not your job to make anyone believe. Your job is to live as a Christian wherever you are and wherever you go. We are to be prepared to tell people about Jesus and the hope that we have, but do so with gentleness and respect. It's my prayer that we do so each day so that the world might believe.